Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It is March 18, 2014, and it's 3 minutes after 4 o'clock. And let's take a look at the S&P 500 chart. Been following this today. Nice day if you're a bull, and we'll talk a little bit about it. After I remind you that the website and this video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the side or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. And I am not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. So let's take a look. First off, just a real super fast recap. We were looking at this area that's in gray is kind of a fuzzy zone of support coming into this week. And here on Tuesday, we saw that sort of borne out yesterday with the move over this little triple bottom here. And again, this is a very small pattern, but it's still told us something. Just like back here, we had a very small inverted head and shoulders pattern. I mean, that thing was tiny. There it is. And yet, look what it did. It took us from 1850 up to 1880. And this thing was tiny. Well, I think we sort of had kind of the same thing going on with this little triple bottom. And it propelled us up yesterday, and we were coming into this week looking at two different things. We were looking at this small pattern as an indication that if we break out over this line, that we would likely come up and challenge this trend line that I just highlighted. Today, we moved up over that trend line, which was kind of part two of our of giving this market a pathway, if you will, to over 1900, okay? Because we have a target up there about 1958. So, step one, yesterday we got up over this resistance line. We stopped short of this resistance line. Step two, we are now over this resistance line. So what's step three? Well, I think step three, maybe we say step 3A and step 3B. Because I think we've got maybe a little horizontal area here based upon this little high that we had back last week. And I'm going to make this a purple line because I'm not saying this is what it is yet. But what we may be ending up with is a little stacked inverted head and shoulders pattern, like those Russian nesting dolls. We got a little a little triple dip down here at this low. Then maybe that's the small little doll, and then that's inside of what may be a little inverted head and shoulders pattern. Maybe. We'll see. We might jump right on over this line tomorrow. But if we don't, and we dip down a little bit, this line, I think, could give us a little fight. Not much of one, but it's possible. Then we have this line that is now our all-time high in the low 1880s. So basically, just to cut to the chase, we got over this line, we got over this line. Both of those have bullish implications. Now, I say the next step is over this and over that, and we are on our way into the 1900s. And if we end up making a small inverted head and shoulders pattern here, then that alone would produce a target. Now, I'm not going to draw that line yet because it's not an inverted head and shoulders pattern at this point. But that, if it turns into one, that alone should be sufficient to get us to about 1920. Now, I want to back out on the chart and just show you one more quick thing. And I think I alluded to this a little bit earlier. When we had this little spell of weakness here, I think that's actually a good thing. And the reason I say that is because while we were after we'd gotten up over this neckline of our larger inverted and truncated head and shoulders pattern back here, the one that has our target at 1958, we were butting our heads right up against all of this resistance stuff, and it's like, how are we ever going to get up to 1958 when we were back here in the beginning of the second week of March into the first week? How are we going to get there? We've got all of this to deal with, and it was right on top of us. Well, we come down. We slide out to the side a little bit, and now there is room to maneuver. So this little dip, I think, is likely a good thing. Now, you might say, well, this is all totally 100% bullish. No, because we still need to watch this general area down here for support. Okay, let me show you why. I'm going to move this line just a bit. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to change its color. Because until we start to get to a new high, there is a possibility that we are seeing a head and shoulders top develop. Okay, I'm not saying it's a likelihood. I'm just saying be objective about it. Don't be locked in. Don't be a permabull, but don't run scared either. It's possible. So if that's the case, then we would be seeing left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and if it were to break down, then likely a return down to about 1800 as a minimum target from this possible pattern. But right now, just from what I've seen, let's just keep an eye on these two levels right here. I'm thinking this larger pattern back here should trump this smaller potential pattern. So I am leaning towards the bullish outcome at this point. So going into tomorrow, just to cut to the chase one more time, got a little resistance here right at about 1874. We got more resistance at about 1883 and change. Get over this, then that should pretty much ensure getting over this line at 1883, and at that point we should be getting up to challenge the 1900s. So guys, there's your video for March 18th, 2014. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch this. Thank you especially for your very kind support. Take care.